Hello, everyone. Yeah, exactly as you said. We're going to run 70 star today, blindfolded, which means like the entire game without vision. And yeah, I've been doing this since quite a long time. You probably have seen some blindfolded runs by now. It's been pretty popular these years. And yeah, I'm here with Luzifer and Nico, my commentators, because I cannot really speak during the run. So if you want to introduce yourselves, feel free to do so now.
Yeah, I'm Luzifer. I'm into Bubzia's community for over a year now, and I know this run by heart and was all grind there. So I'm here for the info dumps, and I have Nico with me for the more in-depth stuff of the game because he has more hands-on experience. Nico.
Yeah, I'm Nico. I've been a blindfolded runner for like 3 years and a half. I ran multiple games, but SM64 has been my main focus so far. And yeah, I've run 16, 31, and worked on 70, but never did it. But yeah, so I will try to explain like more specific runner stuff and all.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for being here and helping me out with the commentary, because as always, I will not be able to hear the commentators because I need to focus on the game audio. And I will put on a second pair of headphones here, and then we can basically start the run. So without further ado, I would start the countdown and get set up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Good luck. Have
Good
fun.
luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, so this is 70 star. Some of you might know this category by yeah, let's say it that way. It's kind of the glitchless approach of Super Mario 64, since there are no major glitches allowed to skip big portions of the run. And it's by far, for blindfolded's sake, the hardest and most mentally draining category, as it's basically around 1.5 hours of full throttle, no breaks, full focus gameplay. Bubzia has to focus all the time. It's only like highly optimized strats at this point. We've gone a long way in blindfolded gaming in the last years. And by that, his PB and the current world record is currently 1 hour 16:41, set in March this year, 21 to be specific. And it was his first ever sub 120 in this category, beating his previous record by 3 minutes and 31 seconds.
Nice Lucky 2 skip right there at the beginning.
By the way, yep, we've just seen a Lucky 2 skip. Basically, there's a trigger to talk with Lucky 2, which explains you how the camera works. But the trigger is on the bridge, but it extends slightly, not enough. And there's a thin line where you can walk and not talk to Lucky 2. This setup was made by Nobori, a Japanese runner who held many records back in the day, like a few years back from now. And yeah. And also we've just seen bomb clip as well. Bomb clip, basically by grabbing the bomb right before it explodes, you grab the bomb, which is much bigger, and the hitbox of the bomb gets inside Mario and pushes him backwards. And by throwing him while at the gate, like in front of the gate, the push that bomb gives to Mario will be enough to clip the gate.
Yeah, and you already see at the first like 2 tricks of this whole run the pace. Like we can't even commentate that fast that he is performing, and that's all the way through the whole run. We currently see one of the few examples in BOB Boss, which is one of the slower stars, but it is sadly required since it gives us the opportunity later on in BOB to open the cannon for the BOB Island and BOB Secret Stars. So there is basically no way around. It's sadly that early in the run, otherwise it would be kind of a breather to get a little break in between all this high-speed Mario gaming for Bubzia. But so it's just at the beginning, and he cannot really profit from it.
Also, by the way, the route you're seeing now has been changed quite a lot. Bubzia himself, every like few months or even few weeks at times, bounces between ideas. The main stars remain the same, but some stars change at times. So he had a route where Wombat Fortress, the next stage was late, but this time it's early, as usual actually. But yeah. And
next up is Wombat Fortress Boss. It's like the first star in Wombat Fortress. Also a decently slow star for Wombat Fortress, since that's one of the easiest and most quick stages in the whole run, basically. And he tries to climb the mountain here to go into the warp, and now performing a really precise triple jump off the swamp on to the boss. It worked perfectly here. It's one of the critical points in the strat, and now he manipulates the boss position specifically to be able to catch the star mid-air on the third ground pound, so to skip any inconsistencies here, and also performing a cinema emote.
Cinema mindset. And basically you saw that when Mario ground pounds, some collisions are disabled, and that is abused to clip through the boss, both to ground pound on him and also to ground pound through him to land back. And
Yeah, now basically one of the most infamous glitches in all of SM64. It is cannonless. Nico, what can you tell us about it?
Okay, here we will do a old stock folder setup, but with a slight change where you just jump over the piranha instead of a double jump kick. And then the setup most runners are used to. But Bubzia found out that by doing an ESS canceling the punch while landing on the bridge, will give you a very consistent position and very often land the star. What is an ESS, by the way? It comes from the Ocarina of Time community. ESS is extended super slide, the super slide glitch extended basically, and it consists of holding the slightest notch you can hold out of the dead zone. So in Mario specifically, it translates into slow walking, which allows you to ledge grab. And we've also seen the easiest star of the run, and a very, very easy star for beginners, Wild Blue. It's a very easy star.
Yeah, next we see Wombat Fortress Tower. It's basically the same beginning as in Wombat Fortress Boss. We already saw the climb to the warp. Now again, the critical point, the triple jump, but nails it perfectly. And here we punch the wall to get a consistent distance to be able to perform blindfolded wall kicks. Very, very hard trick. And grab the star on the top of the tower. Very good one. And now we didn't see it really, but Bubzia did switch his controllers for the next star. It's the owl, but we don't do owlless in blindfolded gaming yet. But instead we perform a strat called Mad Owl, one of the two stars I myself have performed blindfolded. It's a pretty easy strat, I would say, but it's an impressive one nonetheless. We keep the speed conversion from the long jump into the owl, basically, and we keep the speed conversion while going up with the owl into the air, and by going into Mario Cam and performing 2 slide holds on the controller, we can ensure that our back faces towards the cage, and by the speed conversion we get pushed off to the back of the owl, and by that can go really far without even flying much around.
Okay, yep. And now we are already finished with Wombat Fortress with the PSS. This is a strat by Nobody. We've already mentioned him. Usually if we don't mention anybody, most likely it's because it's Bubzia's strat, by the way, so you know. Because this is a very consistent strat where you slide kick and use a rollout to shoot at the end, and it usually gives a 13.5, sometimes 13.4 time of the race, actually. So it's a very, very cool star.
Faster strats within the community. Bubzia has not yet adopted them, but the current IL record holder is currently one of the newbies, so to say, the newcomers of blindfolded 16 star. Learned blindfolded 16 star through Bubzia's own tutorial, which he released last year. It's Johannes. And it's a great upcoming runner, a great person also, and he has the IL record for PSS.
Yeah, So that's mainly like Jonas, and also there were ideas by Blobface times, another runner who actually hasn't done full 60 stars yet. He also is a very good ABC runner, but yeah, and it's a very good fast strat. It is like a 13.0, 13.1 time. He was in Dark World, which is the first Bowser stage, and yeah, it's very, very optimized by now. He goes for very quick strat. Oh, okay. Because we have seen actually Dark World Red. This star has been worked a lot. It's one of the hardest stars in the game, and yeah, the beginning has basically there are cycles in the stage. The platforms later in the level have a coin on top of them, and you have to catch a point where the platform is underneath the coin in order to grab it. And so there are those cycles we call 37, 41, based on the second he will leave the crystal. You will see in a moment. He'll normalize, and we get on what a normalization is soon. He'll normalize at a crystal, and from there leave it at different seconds from like entering the stage, and those will determine the cycle. And based how fast he gets here, this is normalization we're talking about. He will get different cycles. He's been waiting because he got some amps RNG, and so he probably caught either 41 or 45. I don't know, to be honest. I think it's a 45 cycle. And the
catching the cycles without the audio cues is not really easy, so it's hard for us to really catch which cycle he got. But he has all the different audio cues for the cycles memorized by heart.
It should be 45, I think, because the older strat gave him a 37, and he changed it for consistency.
Basically, the cycles are named after the time that has elapsed since we joined the level. When we join the stage, basically there is an internal timer running, and the cycles are named after which point in that timer we reach the platform that has the fourth red, and the cycles he catches usually in 70 are 37, 41, and the slowest he can catch is 45. So that is basically his backup cycle. He has no backups after 45 cycle, so he actually has to reset if he does not catch the 45 cycle.
There's also a bit of a history. Bubzia has made a video about the history of this specific star because it has a lot of history. And it also is the star that allows for 16-star LVLG route, where you basically, like, I'm not going to go into much details, but you basically skip to the Bowser stage right as you start the game. It saves about 50 seconds because it allows you to grab basement stars that are much quicker than lobby stars, and so do some replacements. And it's required, so it has to be fast to save time, but consistent as well. And
Bubzia also giving us a great showcase of why this star is absolutely dreaded, especially for marathon runs. It's so much RNG. It can be controlled to a little bit, but there's just so much RNG that if you get really, really unlucky there, it's just hard to perform well.
Okay. I don't know what he's planning now.
Just gonna get BB-8 reds.
Okay. So he's gonna do a replacement and do BB-8 reds instead, I guess.
You could tell Bubzia had the approximate idea of where he was, especially from coming off both edges of the platform by the rollers. But since he hadn't heard the 6th red coin, he knew he hadn't picked it up on the way. Good choice of backups.
Exactly.
Also a good thing of him being actually routing 120 star right now in his streams, actually currently, that he has backup potential like all day. He can just pull off and say, hey, I know some other star, I don't have to get this one like do or die and take a death or even game over here if I must. and so he just can pivot at middle of the star right there even, and say, I know I am on 0 one-ups. Let's say maybe do something different here.
Smart way to reset back to a known position, going back into Bowser and then using the menu to quit back out and come back in the middle of floor 1 on the castle.
It's actually also faster for Blindfolded. He has routed multiple times and compared all the strats he has to his availability, even to multiple different stages within the lobby. And yeah, it always turned out that it's just not worth it to risk a time loss there, since the strat is almost always the faster one.
Yeah, usually Oh, okay.
Oh.
Now he just realized that he has to do something different because he is missing a star.
Yep.
That's how optimized 70 star is at this point. He has no star spare to get the wing cap, which was what he actually wanted to do right there in the lobby. He wanted to join the wing cap stage to get the wing cap, and it is needed for an upcoming star in Lethal Lava Land. So he has really quickly turned up his gears there in his brain and realized that he also has not even only BBH Reds, which he wanted to do, but he can actually do another star before that. But he has now in his mind really much brain capacity to remember that he has to do BBH Reds at a completely other point and skipping BOB Cooper, which would happen later in the run anyway. So that's basically on the fly rerouting him this complete run in his brain. Impressive already what he has done here.
Yeah, also because this route you've seen is meant to reach LLL as fast as possible, because it's a really, really hard stage. It has a lot of hard strats. And so the idea is you grab 10 stars to get the wing cap and then directly go to LLL, because you need the wing cap, as Luzifer said. But since it's so tight, he has to back it up with something else, because there's no time, star to spare in this sense.
Yeah, it's also, we can already go a bit on to the LLL thing, since it's the next thing we will see after grabbing the wing cap here. So the reason why he wants to do LLL ASAP in this run, especially in world records attempts, but in general, is, like Nico said, it's basically one of the hardest, if not the hardest stage in the whole run. Why? You will see it's quickly. You will see and you will know it, since basically it is dubbed by Bubzia himself a Kaizo stage at this point. I would say all but maybe 2 or 3 stars in the stage, and we're doing nearly all of them, are hard as hell.
Yep. Like the first star, which is LLL Red, is one of the most deceptive stars, because visually it's just move and grab the stars. But in Blindfolded, there's no way to normalize, and all it's just a long beat count, which we'll cover now, I guess. And so it's really hard. Because it's very precise. Basically, a beat count, how is Buzzer able to move this quickly? And move in general in the stage. Uses normalized positions sometimes, which are slow but useful, because basically it means reaching a position you can reliably get to, like a corner or something like that. And to move between those normalized positions, he beat counts. So he uses the music to time, use the rhythm of the music to basically time actions based on the rhythm of the music, like a music piece, basically. And
here we see
LLL,
why we need the wing cap.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we need to see the wing cap. We need to grab it here to be able to get the lock star in the stage, which is usually called logless in any visual run and also in Blindfolded, since nobody ever loses this log, like literally no one ever, even Blindfolded. Blindfolded does it this way most of the time, but even visual logless is part of 16 star. There it's even harder. Here with a wing cap, it's a bit easier, but it's still really rough.
Okay. Now we're coming to bully.
We see
maybe
now tiny
Luzifer.
bullies.
Yeah.
That's a really precise and hard star. Actually, the whole community has, during the October of 2024 last year, routed this star it together with Bubzia to be able to perform this. It was one of the most unreliable stars, and today it's just clean beauty, but it's really precise, really rough. It doesn't translate in the visuals oftentimes in Blindfolded, but he has to manipulate the bullies so to be consistently able to perform this 3 quick kills one after another. And all of you who maybe once or twice played Super Mario 64 will know these hitboxes are really jank.
Okay, if you want to explain Lava Boost as well, if you want, by the way.
Yeah.
I think
this star, since we also game over just anyway, this star upcoming, the Volcano star in LLL, there is just a lot to say about the star, but the most sum up thing you could say is it is a miracle that it exists, since we are officially doing Lava Boost in Blindfolded. It's a strat from visual runs that, nobody would ever think that has listened or wrote a bit about what the people might say about this, since the hitbox of this lava fall is also pretty jank. Also, he mistimed an input right there. This is a death. And since it's a pretty jank hitbox to actually get the lava boost consistently is a frame of maybe 2 or 3 frames if you get the right angle, and to get the right angle is also really precise, since it's maybe a few pixels even only that you can actually hit there to get the correct lava boost without dying, since you only can be boosted twice, and we only can get boosted twice anyway in Blindfolded, since we collect the coins beforehand, since when we enter the volcano we already lava boost once and get damage. But now there he has finally gotten it. 3rd try, it's about average, I would say, but the consistency the star actually has is... It's quite understated.
Bro.
Quite the trouble here getting the star grab. But it's quite understated because he literally, this year, and the strat is like only not even 1 year old at this point. The strat he has performed this year 19 times in a row, first try in runs, in actual runs, not practice or anything. In runs, he has performed the lava boost first try 19 times in a row, and you couldn't even believe it that such a precise star could even be performed blindfolded at that high level of consistency.
Yeah, no, to everyone in chat wondering how somebody gets this good, it's that kind of practice. It's drilling yourself and making it happen in runs over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, by the way, quick comment. LLL bullies and LLL lava boost, even from a blindfolded run perspective, I tell you, I think it's one of the most impressive strats in this whole run. Every time I see LLL bullies and lava boost, I just cannot believe they are this viable. But they are. It's really crazy, I think. But yeah, like I really had to stress this out because it's really crazy that this is viable. And this is why LLL is so hard. Between LLL Red, which is a joke in comparison, but it's still really hard, and those 2 stars. And also, by the way, talking about like how blindfolded like approaches and to games. Actually, I'm gonna just say one last thing about LLL. I mentioned earlier beat counting, so I rushed it because the 2 big stars were coming. But basically, you use the beat of the music, like it's like this, for instance, the beat of the music, and you say, I don't know, jump on 1, go to the right on 3, and so you say jump to right 4, 5, and so you bind things on the rhythm. And LLL doesn't have a beat in the music. So what he's using there is the sound of the footsteps of the bullies, which is really subtle, but with headphones you can hear them, and use that to beat count. That's how he manages to time things in LLL.
Wow.
And here
it's
also
fascinating
we've seen
to hear
as
you describe. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. Go.
It's fascinating to hear you describe all of this just so matter-of-factly. I have to imagine that the fact-finding and practice for this is almost kind of more akin to how they develop strats for tassing. You know, it's like, hey, this is theoretically possible, but can it do it like this? And then figuring out how to actually make it happen in practice in a live setting is just like a wholly different experience than just experimenting to find out what's theoretically possible. So, you know, knowing that this games community is still so lively and active in these alternative categories decades later is amazing, and that people like Bubzia are bringing it to this level, taking the things that, you know, people only think are theoretically possible and making them happen live. That's what's such a treat to see. So thank you both for being here to commentate along with us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
But it's just magnificent. It's even Bubzia himself saying that often, if not all the time, that he is able to. The most fun part, and this is not to shame on the runs themselves, but the most fun part about Blindfolded is the routing and stratting. If he could, he would do that all the day, since it's just such a good feeling to think something and really blueprinting it on a note, really, and then thinking, now let's see if this is possible, and making it possible somehow. And these days often, really, especially since his sub 20 grind and 16 star last year, the community is most often in the time in his stream really involved in this process of routing and stratting. And most of the strats here in 70 star already, like I would say even up to 20% of the strats here in 70, the community had some involvement in. Only since like October last year, and it's just super nice, super wholesome, and really impressive.
Yeah, that's very cool. You know, it's like doing the run itself is kind of like watching an artist at work, but you think about it, and like you were describing with the whole community chipping in and figuring these things out one piece at a time, there's a lot of science that goes into making it look this easy, and knowing that everybody's putting the work together is really satisfying.
On the note of science, it's really funny that you say that, since for one of the earlier stars we saw, Cannonless, we had actual SM64 tasks in chat, and we used them and also all the tools available in the practice room Usamune up to the memory viewer to actually get Cannonless for Blindfolded to 100% consistency. Since before it was not 100% consistent, and that was literally the worst thing for all Blindfolded runners. All of them hated to do Cannonless just because it was not 100% consistent. And Bubzia took it to his task and said, there has to be a way, even if it's slow, to get it to 100% consistency. He found a way, even though it took scientific measures, but in the end, it wasn't even slow. And since then, he had so much fun doing his sub 20 grind in 16 star, and it really gave a second wind into all of Blindfolded, even the longer categories like 31, 50, and 70 star.
I believe it.
To be able to do Cannonless consistency.
And a nice MIPS manip there. Make sure that MIPS ran right into your hands.
Here he just did a backup because he failed it. Oh, really nice, because this was fully improvised. Because what you saw there is that we didn't talk about lock cam, but he switched to lock cam. I'm going to touch on that in a second. While in HMC, but that meant he still has lock cam now, which means he doesn't have Mario cam, which was required for the backup going from MIP to the wooden door. He didn't have it there, and so he had to improvise. Like you saw him like tapping R and hearing the double click which happened when you tap lock cam compared to Mario cam, which does only one click. And said, damn, because he didn't have lock cam and and so had to back it up on the spot. Really nice. And talking about lock
clear
cam,
oversight
it's really
on the developers of SM64 that you can actually not change your cam while in the castle. That's really rough for blindfolded runners, since if you have the wrong cam setting selected within a stage and you only realize it in the castle, you're basically screwed. You have to improvise or go back, exit course, something, reset to get your cam setting straight.
Yeah, exactly. Also, we're gonna touch on a quick thing about Benny's cap now, which is grabbing. It's not in the 70-star visual route, but in blindfolded, it's slower. It's a slow start, Benny's cap in and of itself, but it unlocks many stars, like 5 or 6 that are very quick. And so, we get the Venice cap, and also this star specifically is also cycle-based as a Dark World, as we saw the elevators, and he developed a really quick cycles. Luzifer, if you want to tell a bit more about that, or a few things.
The thing with the Vanish cap is just everywhere you see some kind of a moving platform within a stage, you definitely know it is cycle-based. And for all these occasions, Bubzia has to memorize multiple of these cycles and also remember in his brain the audio cues for the different cycles to be able to perform backups there consistently without just relying on improvisation and luck. And this is really, really impressive.
Okay.
Also here we just saw a strat. Funnily enough, this strat we just saw from the beginning of the stage up to the wing cap that he grabbed within the box. It is called Nico, and it's no accident. No, it is called after my co-commentator. The strat is called Nico after him because at one point in the grind of last and this year, Bubzia was just practicing casually and doing this star right here, BOB Secrets and also BOB Island. And Nico came in chat and just said, I have this strat here. I used it a few times. It's pretty consistent for me. Want to try it out? And Bubzia did try it out. And it was also a pretty good strat Bubzia found. And it was good in practice, and he used it, and then came runs, and Bubzia failed to grab this wing cap like 3 or 4 times in a row. And what he then went to do was blaming Nico for introducing the strat and blaming him that the strat was like literally the fault and not him. So not he was at fault, but the strat was bad. And since this incident, the strat is dubbed after Nico, while also being much more consistent today. But every time it still might fail. It's not often, but when it fails, everyone is blaming Nico for it since he introduced the strat.
So what you're saying is it's gone from Nico strats accusatory to Nico strats affectionate.
Yes.
I like it.
Like a quick inside joke, I'm known in Bubzia that to Jinx runs, like very much known for the last years. So it stinks with that. And also, quick thing about I wanted to say something about the I didn't, because we didn't have time, about the routing process. Like something that is deceiving for viewers, blindfolded runs is 95% practice and it is a lot of practice, especially at Bubzia's level, because the strats are really hard. But unironically, the most time-consuming part by far is routing. Actually, like I wouldn't say by far. At Bubzia's level, at like lower levels, it is by far, but still the longest part because, yeah, it's really, really time consuming. Like the blindfolded, you cannot just take a blindfold and improvise. Probably Bubzia can at the at this stage, but anyways, because he routed a lot of things, he can kind of rely on, even if he doesn't fully know something. But yeah, routing is really, really important, the most time consuming because, yeah, it's just about planning carefully everything, every single input and backup, if possible. Like now, for instance, he went for a very fast and cool triple jump wall kick, which he failed, but he does have a backup. And so, yeah, and runs are like 5% of, not 5%, but like a significantly minor part of the process, which makes also grinding slower because yeah, routing is very important. But it's fortunately really, really fun, as Luzifer said.
And BBH, according to Bubzia himself, one of the easier stages of this run. We saw a really slow start in the beginning with a ghost hunt. But also, again, with the BOB, with like BOB boss, it is required to unlock this stage here, the BBH merry-go-round. And yeah, you see it already happening before I even could say it out loud. It's a really rough start because we are on a moving platform here within the merry all the time. Like, this platform never stops, which means the movement inside of here is super unnormalized. Even like if you go with beat counting and all these tricks and things we have like in the back in Blindfolded, we can do so much little things to really get us to good consistency. But on this moving platform, there is no way to get anywhere a sense of where you are. And he really, really had to back up hard here, because one time a mistimed ground pound or even bad RNG, since this ghosts not reliably all come out at the same time. There is a little bit of RNG involved. Even that can mess up, because if you were hit by a ghost once, you saw it there, it basically train wrecks all of his plans and he has to switch instantly in improvisation mode.
Yeah, Bubzia man a few words during these runs, but even he couldn't keep his silence after that. Got as frustrating as it was.
Though it's not that uncommon in this star, since it's not like he has to expect it here. That right there would have been a point I would have expected him much more out loud, since this is all his fault here. Just a very, very bad side flips. Also, he's now doing BBH reds. This is the star he was not supposed to do at all today within his normal route. Right. So he actually remembered correctly when to do it after the merry-go-round, and also how to do it, at least so far as we've seen.
I was going to say, that remains to be seen, but...
Yeah, all the red coins in the stage. It's a pretty reliably star, though. It's pretty consistent, and his like go-to backup star for 70 in marathon settings. It was for a time even like casually in the marathon route. Like he did 1 star later in the run, cut out that was less reliably at the time, and did BBH reds all the time. Since it's just so reliable, it's just pretty slow, since then he has really no incentive to do it otherwise than a backup, just because it's for the modern standard of 70 star, just too slow, becoming too slow.
Yeah. Also, in general, like Womp Fortress is an easy stage, a relatively easy stage, because it has easy stars on their own, while BBH is really good because it has many rooms and so many chances to normalize. As we talked about earlier, it's really good, even for backups and all. It's really, really nice to find yourself in this stage. And it's
there's lots of
pretty
like
well
small
suited.
walls with corners, so even if you get stuck on something, you can find the nearest corner and try to shimmy over to a wall or something like that.
Exactly.
Actually, correct. And the thing with BBH, it's basically the opposite of a stage we a bit glanced over today, which is HMC Hazy Maze Cave. In Hazy Maze Cave, the camera is basically the end boss. It's so bad for Blindfolded
Wait, what am I doing?
that he actually has to go locked cam all the time in HMC. And BBH is the prime example of the opposite. It has such a good camera that all these single rooms are, just because of the camera, so easy to normalize and so easy to move on in, because just the Lucky 2 cam really similar behaves almost like a locked cam already, just without switching to it actually.
Yeah, I indeed forgot to explain in that Lucky cam. Thank you. But also fun fact here, he grabbed the vanish cap and then forgot, like mistakes the star and went for BBH balcony. That's why he said, "What am I doing?" But then he insisted on that, and so finished it very greatly. So it's fine.
Yeah, we see another try here at the Vanish Star BBH Eye. We try to kill the eye quickly here in the upstairs. It's pretty rough since also, like often, there is RNG involved. Let's see if he gets it first try here. No, I guess there was both bad RNG but also not good inputs since he went through the eye instead of around it. But also for this one, he has a really quick backup, normalizing, killing the ghost that could disrupt us, and from a normalized position perform the kill. But he failed the second time.
Yeah, that's the hope. We're a little we're making our circle a little too tight.
Yeah,
I imagine the projectile
think
coming from the eye gives us a location. There we are.
Yeah, the projectile is basically giving us an audio cue when to know that the eye is actually locked on.
Now we just gotta find the
Also,
star.
here we see
There it is.
we see a great use of the normalized position for the corner and for the backup, and also a good use of normalized movement, which I didn't mention because they're very less used since they are. Here I made a mistake, but okay, should be good because they are low. But a normalized movement is a movement that always moves you by the same amount. So they're kicking a wall in midair is a normalized movement. Actually, semi-normalized because it depends on at which height you do it, but it's pretty consistent. While a punch is consistent, or a backflip. And got confused here. But so that's a normalized movement. We will see some later on as well because they make it for a very great setup.
Yeah, normally a pretty quick, one of the quickest star in the whole run actually, and also the whole game. Had a little bit of troubles here, but still managed to do it okayly. Therefore, we are finished with BBH and already far into the mid game of this run actually. Going to DDD next, one of the hardest and scariest stages in all of Blindfolded SM64. Hence why we try to avoid it as most as possible. But since specifically the star in here that the Vanish Cap unlocked for us to be able to perform, we gonna do that. Since it's a really, really good star. It's the DDD caps. Getting the Vanish Cap and then swimming into some kind of cage. The real problem part of this star, I would say, it's not the swimming right here. Also, the swimming is kind of rough part. If he misses a swim, he has likely to improvise, since the swims are counted and he tries to go up with Mario to go to the surface at a specific point. But so far he didn't miss the swim and all went well. Upcoming is the real critical part, which is getting the cap ground pounding the box is not that hard, but the long jump that he performs now afterwards, it has a really precise timing. The timing looked good right here, but if you get a last possible frame long jump there before you clip into the water, it can messes with your angle hard, and he tries to swim directly into the star, which absolutely cleanly worked right here. Very good. But if he would have just one single frame later long jumped, it would already have caused the angle to go slightly left, and 2 frames later he would have missed the star completely, and most likely also left the cage without knowing, trying to back it up for like a really slow drowning death.
Right. Yeah, you don't get the same kind of backups here. You know, the water, your locomotion's different, and your ability to tell where you are. Like me, from my casual perspective, I was thinking, oh yeah, you know, Dire Docks casually relaxing, maybe a little boring. Dire Docks when you can't see where you are, absolutely terrifying, because the most likely result of any mistake is drowning.
Yeah, also it doesn't have
really slow.
Also, DDD doesn't have, like, since you're in the water, you don't have as many, like, nearly as many sound cues around you, like a wall or things like that. If you swim in the middle of nowhere or against a wall, it makes no difference. And also, it doesn't have, like, easy ways to speak clearly. Correct?
No problem. But if you heard here at the beginning, maybe you get a second chance. But if you heard and looked for it at the specific part at the beginning of the stage, you might heard a jingle. We will hear it later on in Bowser in the Sky again. But the beginning of every Bowser stage has a really distinct jingle that it is most unnoticed for all the casual players, for all the visual players. Nobody really focuses on it. But if you focus on it and you kind of think, this sounds familiar, I maybe heard this already once in my life, and I don't know really how. It is because it sounds very similar, almost maybe copycatted, but we don't know, like the stress jingle from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And this is kind of crazy stuff right there. But if you hear it, we will hear it again in Bowser in the Sky, you will make it out, and you will say, I never noticed that.
Oh, wow.
Keep an eye on that.
The reverse grab on Bowser.
Also, a few things, That one was also, like, for Fire Sea, he did a strat where he catches a very quick cycle, which is the fastest cycle besides Zero Cycle. It's anyway a pretty cool, pretty decently fast cycle visual. And it has a it uses a very good... Yep, true.
Yeah, I wanted to let you finish that description, but for longer runs, we do like to take a quick break for everybody's sake.
Don't worry.
Mindfulness, and Bubzia probably won't mind to get a bit of a mental refresh here as well. So because this run is scheduled for an hour 40, we're going to take a quick break here now that we finish Fire Sea, going into the back half of the run. So everyone get up, take a break, stretch, get some water if you need to. We'll be right back into the action in a few minutes. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Games Done Quick Weekend Special. We're in the block that I'm calling Mario and Sonic and the Extreme Difficulties. About to hop back into a 70-star blindfolded run of Super Mario 64 with our good friend Bubzia. So Bubzia, enjoy your last few seconds of sight here before we send you back into it.
Back into the void.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. No, so I'm excited to continue. I will see. It was a bit scuffed so far, but all the backups have been working. So I hope it's a good show.
Yeah, that's been absolutely tremendous to see. The backups, your commentators have been doing a great job of describing how all that routing works. But so much of it has also just been on-the-fly optimizations from you using strong fundamentals.
I apologize for messing up the. I really apologize for messing up the route. I'm just improvising here.
It's really entertaining. It's really.
People find it entertaining.
Right, then I guess. Nice. That's what matters the most. So, yeah, I'm ready to go if you are. So I can do another countdown if you'd like. All right, then. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go.
Let's go.
And with that, we're back into the second half of the run.
I was like just a quick thing about the tail grab, by the way, which we'll see in actually not anymore. For Bowser stages, basically, in order to skip having to spin Bowser, you basically just touch the tail, which stores the grab, and so you can grab him from further away as long as you face roughly his angle and you're close to him, which is really good.
Now we gotten into Wet Dry World, which is actually the second Kaizo stage of this run, like Bubzia likes to up these stages these days, and it's likely the start of a little gauntlet, since most of upstairs is at this point likely the Kaizo stage. They are all pretty rough, and it starts with like one of the hardest, like instantly Wet Dry World secrets, a really movement heavy star right here. There is like little to no RNG involved actually, but the inputs and the movement here is just so technically, it's so hard and precise that like even the slightest mishaps or just tiny mistimed inputs already can lose a second here, a second there, and overall cause trouble in the star. Overall still pretty clean, I would say, but you had kind of a glimpse that what all can go wrong and where all the time loss can happen.
Yeah, so many different things you're going to be doing during the stage on tight timers, making platforms appear, trying to avoid enemies who could otherwise fling you around. I can see where the danger comes from.
Also the camera. The camera is one of the biggest culprits, even though blindfolded runners most likely appreciate it more than visual runners hate it, but it is at times a really rough and precise thing to work with this kind of beast this camera is. The Lucky 2 is really times cooperative, times uncooperative.
Yep, and like quick note, because sometimes people ask like, why do you like move the camera if you're blindfolded? You don't need to see. So, well, the camera of course changes how Mario moves, and sometimes having a specific camera makes things align very well with notches, since like probably 100% of the run actually is just notched notches, because like more like joystick angles, because they are consistent. So yeah, and here another great use of locked cam to grab one of those stars I was talking about that are Vanish Cap exclusive. It's one of the slowest ones with Vanish Cap, but it's actually the slowest I'd say, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
but
next
in general,
up is Wet Dry World Elevator, which is one of 2 stars that is actually kind of revolutionary to all of this kind of grind he had during 2024 and into 2025. And therefore, we will see at the end of the star, when he climbs the cage, a strat that is also called Wet Dry World Revolution, in order to accommodate for that, because it was one single slight change and strat for 3 stars actually. We also saw it already in Wet Dry World Secrets, and we will see it again in Wet Dry World Top. And this single slightly strat change right there, it saved around 5 seconds alone for 1 star, but since we're doing it for 3 stars, it was actually a 15-second time save right there, just with a slight new strat, and hence that's why Bubzia and primarily the community called it and dubbed it Wet Dry World Revolution, since it was a very slow and old strat, and it was kind of symbolized for the new age 70 star has gotten into in 2024.
Also here, Bubzia doing a crazy backup, because the first time he broke the box and messed up the triple jump, this is not really, as far as I know, a planned backup, and it worked really nicely. And the second time entering the stage, he messed up the camera, and so had to back it up, and did work, which is really crazy. This was a very, very cool backup.
Yeah, and it's really precise, since we're doing this visual approach to the climbing for the elevator right there, where we actually destroy the box early. It's normally done in visual all the time, unless you are a beginner, at which point the guides tell you, don't care, that's something for later. But we actually go for this pro visual strat in Blindfolded, and it's really precise. And once he destroys that box, he has to likely improvise the distances, since every input he does will change the camera angle, and to get up there with a triple jump without destroying the box with a different angle or different position is like near to impossible, which why that was a crazy backup that he did right there. Also, normally he goes in world record attempts for a slightly faster ending here, anticipating the height of the elevator and going for a side flip to directly jump into the star, but it's only a mere 1 second time save at best, which is why there is no real incentive to go for it in marathon runs, since you just can ledge grab there, and when the elevator reaches the top, it will just put you up automatically, and that's your audio cue for when to hold into the star.
Also, yeah, those were some the new quicker strats at the boxes there, which are very quick. Like, it used to be some backflips off of the switch, and not like a very quick side flip like now, which is very cool. Now comes one of the
Wet Dry Wet Top is Wet Dry Wet Warp, sorry, is one of the easiest looking stars, but it's also really scary. This ground pound here, he missed it up already a bit. Has he time? Yeah, he has time, since you normally try to time your ground pound input there right in the middle of the box to get like a double ground pound. You ground pound off the box again in the air to instantly grab the star, and if you miss a line there and miss time, you don't hit exactly the middle, and it's really rough, and you can get hit by the flame right there. Up to the next stage, THI, which also right there begins with an absolute banger. It's Bubzia's favorite star in 70. He messed up the entry of the cannon, but the pipe, but he backed it up. And this here, the silly kicks, the community's favorite strat, and also Bubzia's favorite strat. Just silly kicking up the hill, the whole mountain, onto the other side, sliding down directly into the box, grabbing the star. Very clean movement. It's really funny, since all the silly kicks, it sounds absolutely bonkers. It's a really, really fun star for Bubzia himself also. And he said he had spoken with a visual runner that it's actually not that bad for visual beginners, at least. So it's funny that like a blindfolded strat there is almost competitive to at least compete with the visual beginner strats.
And now THI secrets as well, which is, as we just saw, a really hard star and very, very, very dependent on RNG. Like, that's some RNG factors. Yeah, I personally really hate it as a star. But yeah, Luzifer, if you want to say something about it, or
yeah, Bubzia also. I don't know if he wholeheartedly hates it, but he fears it since it's just big RNG all the time. You saw it over there on the first secret. Above the first secret actually is a Goomba that can mess you up. Then here at the third secret there are already 2 Goombas that can mess you up, and all these Goombas are affected by RNG. So we really have no clue where they are actually. And coming up at the after the 4th secret on the coin plank, there is one last Goomba that still can mess you up. So far it was mainly a bit of mistimed inputs here at the 3rd secret, which he now did perfectly. Now an intended fire boost to precisely get us boosted right into the 4th secret, side flipping up, and you saw it right there. The Goomba, it hit him, and he has no clue where he is. He has to back it up now, going down to the beach again to just perform what he performed already again, but this time without the Goomba. It is just so much RNG with all these tiny Goombas right here that he really, really fears this star just because of the RNG.
There it was. The coin gave away the position.
Yeah. It was actually not the usual coin. Normally, he didn't notice it while performing, actually, that he already got his Q coin. And it is the coin that really centers him with the secret on top, since the secret has a kind of reliant hitbox. It's a bit to the right and a bit to the left, but if you too far right or left, you can actually miss the last secret entirely, and therefore it was kind of bit lucky that he still got it, because he actually went one coin too far. Also this year right there, PHI Plants was up to 2024 when he re-picked up the 70-star grind, one of the worst stars in the whole run. It was the worst. Bubzia, and this time definitely wholeheartedly hated this star, and it was one of the biggest community efforts to route this star completely in 2024. There were, I think, 4 to 5 people involved in his Discord with their own practice ROMs and posting strats, and there were lots of discussion, lots of ideas thrown around. In the end, Bubzia took a bit of everything, if you want, and a bit of nothing also, because he incorporated some ideas into his actual old strat. And this has led to this clean THI Plants, which has become one of the most reliant stars in all of upstairs in 70, after being before one of the worst of the whole run.
Indeed. Now, TTM next. TTM has...
One second, I get this on my lap.
Oh.
Mokka joined the run.
Yep. Mokka is his cat, if someone wants to know. Yeah. TTM, fun fact, by the way, we take the wind. Something is that, like, someone may think, oh, maybe the mountain clip, which is the one used in runs, is hard. It's not. The problem is actually afterwards normalizing with the water. So using the wind
play with him.
Using the wind is more consistent. Although there's Chakia always having fun. And TTM has seen very,
but very clean backup. He somehow completely improvised his movement into the bob-omb to get somewhere to where he actually wanted to be. And he managed to do it while the cat was all over his body.
He really messes.
Still failed the star at the end. Got
so
too
close.
much Shybox.
I call that a bit of a commentator curse from Mokka there.
Hold up. Let me just redo the whole thing.
Cheating.
This was a funny thing, but if you now think that his cat clearly has, this was the first time, he never does it, his cat already has killed one world record pacer at a German marathon event he ran. It was pretty funny. He was actually on world record pace until his cat came, and it literally killed the record pace. Still was a decent pace at the end, but it was still funny that the cat just came in to absolutely cause havoc, and it literally caused the pace to die.
I mean, that's cats. They see your world record sitting there on the table, and they're happy to push it off for you.
Absolutely.
Exactly. But yeah, here we've seen a pretty recent improvement in TTM. He used to, after that triple jump near the Goombas, that's a pretty inconsistent and weird part of the stage. He used to ESS to ledge grab near the 1-up. So like use the 1-up as a clue to know when he got in the position, doing some ESSs. And then doing a side flip, which was pretty precise but decently consistent. Instead, now he does this really crazy triple jump into a double jump ledge grab, which is much faster but has failed sometimes. It is really hard.
Yeah, it's pretty inconsistent, but also really consistent. We saw it right there. The problem that happens is that he can end up just slightly too far left and not actually clipping that edge of the wall that sticks out, but instead bonking against it. That's when the star really goes bad. Otherwise, it's pretty clean, and it's one of Bubzia's favorite stars if all goes well, just because of its pure energy. It's just all movement. It's no RNG really. It's a really clean movement and technical movement. That's how you know he's also really into it to perform these things, since the clean, the flow movements that really require a lot of focus still, but that can be performed in one go. That's his real favorites. So it's also really empowering for blindfolded runners if they can, of course, rely on all these normalized setups, angles and stuff, but if you can just perform something beat counting most of the time, so with the flow of the music, it's a really empowering feeling for blindfolded runners.
Yep, also we've just seen TTM Reds, a really one of the hardest stars of the run. Personally, I think another one of those really impressive strats. And it's really hard, but it's really fast, and it worked out pretty well. And also now a very cool, which failed, locked cam setup for the star at the mushroom, which you're meant to use a cannon, which no one has ever used because it's just actually hard. And but instead using the crazy box as in visual runs to get to the mushroom, but not bouncing on the wall, which is easier, but doing this much faster triple bounce to get into the star from a locked cam position to go straight, and it's really cool.
Yeah, he keeps this angle that he gets from the beginning of the stage, and with a lock cam, he just retains this angle, and it just happens to line up perfectly with the star, so that he is able at all to perform this strat with the crazy box to not bonk against any walls, just hold back. Also, this is probably the quickest star of the run. If he performs it, and he does, this is actually the fastest star in all of Blindfolded, since it's basically almost performed as in visual. Really tough, really rough. He has backups, and I can tell you, since it's the fastest star, cost a lot of time.
Indeed, because the backup is basically the intended strat, which is much slower going through the maze, and also renormalizing because he has to find the ledge.
Bully here. Absolute perfect clean bully with the insta star grab. He actually has multiple outcomes right there. If the bully dies, he can either ledge grab, no ledge grab, which is the optimal, and what happened right there. and with the no ledge grab can long jump directly into it. Or the third one, he can actually fall off and get ice boosted from the ice water. And yeah, that also is kind of fast but rough. And another thing of SL that we saw right there, SL is a really rough stage to back up anything. And since there is also no quick way to die, like you cannot void out anywhere or something, you can let hit you by an enemy a few times or go in the ice water, which is like almost the same speed as drowning, like not fast at all. Any mistake in this stage is likely bound to cause a real time loss, since he has to quit the course and re-enter it from the lobby, since there is just no backups that are possible.
Also here we're seeing a very extensive use of the locked cam. So it's one of those few stars which are really cool because you see nothing, close to nothing. And this is one of those stars that are pretty quick with the vanish cap, and which you normally don't see in Visual 70 star. This is a very quick strat, normalizing like at the box and going left and then straight into the star. But yeah, SL is weird because it has no like corners to normalize, as Luzifer said, no rooms, and also a pretty weird layout in general. So backups are very unlikely to happen.
Yeah, also the same beginning is used here for the SL head star. It's a really rough beginning. You have to dodge an almost invisible slope at the cannon there in the beginning, and then get 2 triple jumps off of the slope. The ending here also kind of hidden because of the locked cam, but he actually slide kicks into the slope or the sloped forehead of the snowman and bounces off of it directly into the star. It's really cool to see, but we just don't see it any often.
And another thing you won't see now, he gets to the on star here, which breaks the box, but in order to find it, he slide kicks against the slope down, which normalizes laterally, like vertically with the box, and then has to find it. It's not 100% consistent as we are seeing now, but he should find it quickly.
Yeah, I wrote down in my notes it's about 100% consistent, but like only about, because yeah, it still can mess up sometimes. It's really unlikely to though. And the next thing we see, it's likely a bit surprising, since we are back in the lobby, and the namesake of this route, which he also used in the world record, since the route is dubbed CCM Late, is actually that we go into Cool Mountain now, which 53 stars, and it's like happened one day, like of a genius idea from Bubzia himself, when he was routing 70 star and he was practicing and even running already, and he had all those troubles since, like I said in the beginning, it's full throttle, no brakes for about 1.5 hours. And this is so mentally draining that, especially after all these Kaizo stages and upstairs, which are all really, really hard and back to back to back to back, he often really had troubles to keep his focus afterwards for the hard ending in Tippy and also Bowser in the Sky. And at that time, back in the day, he had the genius idea he can do a late Worm's Fortress, which is the easiest stage of the whole run, and he has it by his 16-star sub-20 grind, memorized it completely by heart. It's so free for him that he said, if I do that late, this will be like the second breath I always needed.
Yeah, and the stress relief. You route in something to make everything else after this more consistent, because you've had time to relax.
Exactly.
I love it.
He had a similar approach back in the day for his 120 run, but he never even thought about it for 70. And in the day when he routed it, it was still a route where he kind of had a strat called, or a star routed in the run that is CCM Big Penguin, the Big Penguin race, which cannot be performed blindfolded, but rather has to hit a frame-perfect skip. And since he had to do this early in the run, because it was just a so RNG-heavy star, that he had to do Womp's Fortress late. But after this star could be routed out, since other faster strats were found, he decided he wants to keep this second breath approach and just switched out Womp's Fortress and CCM and decided to do CCM late instead.
Yeah, also for Wall Kicks will work. We've seen a pretty cool strat where if it works correctly as it did, you can see nothing. I think those stars are pretty cool. They are not many, but they are indeed cool.
Yeah, they kind of give you as the audience the Bubzia experience. You can't see anything.
Exactly.
Shameless plug for Bubzia's own ROM hack at this point. Bubzia has created a ROM hack, which all of you can actually kind of experience a similar stage of things like Bubzia. It's called Super Mario Dark Edition. Since it is basically the blindfolded experience, all textures are literally turned black, and therefore he has really trouble seeing anything in the stage. If you don't know any blindfolded strat, it's a really cool but also weird experience, but it's the closest visual people can even get to the blindfolded experience.
Yeah, call it a practice ROM for doing this sort of thing.
People tend to call it that, but it's still rough to use it for practice, especially as a beginner. But also the Bubzia is not that easy to practice in this ROM actually.
Sure.
Yeah, because like it also gives you a bias of you see some stuff, very few things, but you do see, so you can switch things up. But it is a good thing. Sometimes I run it, and it's a fun way to like get used to some strat blindfolded.
Yeah,
and it's actually like also, many visual runners. Sorry.
I know. I just want to say also that to the point that it is actually the hardest thing to run blindfolded is to don't rely on your visual senses or all the tiny improvements to movement that you make. That is basically the hardest thing to do for blindfolded, is not like know all the strats by heart and get them into your brain to like quickly just boot them up or so, but it's to not do all the things you just subconsciously rely on when you have visuals, to get rid of this subconscious muscle memory. That is the real rough and tough part of blindfolded gaming.
Yeah, also because like practice in general, practicing with eyes is not too much recommended blindfolded. Bubzia does it, but because by now he has very much the knowledge of what like when he is relying on was he seen subconsciously or not. So, but usually it's not if you're not experienced, it's not recommended because of that. And also we've just seen SSL Klepto and SSL Pyramid. Pyramid is a very quick star, and SSL Klepto has seen some very great improvements in consistency. And
we go down back there. Most of the people will know it because MIPS at 50 stars, MIPS will spawn a second time. Also, Bubzia almost invalidating the run here, while his muscle memory told him to maybe do a BLJ, which is of course banned in 70 star, but he realized quickly enough to not do that. He also did it in his warm-up run on Friday on his stream, but just for funs and giggles. But you could already see it caused some bad habits right there to develop in his brain, and he was able to tame them.
Yeah. Also, something we didn't mention yet. You can see like in DDD, we are playing on Wii, and you may say, "Oh, there's a release on Wii." Well, SM64 has a version on Wii on Wii Virtual Console, And yeah, it has no lag, which is mainly why we play it, but it also has GameCube controller support, which is a really good controller for Blindfolded, because it has very clear notches. And also, I completely didn't say anything, we just seen Bubzia cycle. This star, this strat is very quick, and this strat you just saw is a 1 cycle improvement, which is many years old by now, over Nobody's strat, which was slower. Bubzia saved 1 whole cycle doing this, and it's really quick, but really hard. Really good that he got it first try there.
Yeah, upcoming here is Rainbow Ride triangles, and there, right, you saw it. It is a really cool strat. He uses his own momentum with the dive and the rollout to get him to get pushed down and slowed down by the hitbox of the upper triangle, just enough to perform another jump and then a side flip to do all one in fluid motion. It's a really cool strat if it works out very well. Another one of these highly technical things that when he performs everything well, Bubzia really loves in this game. So one of his favorite stars here again. Now is up Rainbow Ride Reds, which is one of the scariest stars in the last stretch of the run here. So far clean. It's also very movement heavy, very technical. You have to keep all your angles straight. You have to know all the backups. There we had it. It's a really, really rough time to backflip in this little alcove there. Actually get it.
Where is he?
He heard the bob-omb, but the bob-omb actually fell down. There is also a funny clip.
He disappeared, dude.
Funny clip of him during one of his world record attempts where he actually pushed on the wall against the bob-omb for about 30 seconds.
Oh, no.
And the bob-omb didn't trigger. So he didn't have any audio cue that he actually had the bob-omb in his way. And it stuck there for 30 seconds before it finally turned down. And he thought he was on that wall at the whole other side of it, right at the end, and had to go all the way over there. But in realized that it was just the bob-omb that had him stuck there for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, but now it worked out. Also, we are seeing Error Cruiser. This star has been in and out the route because it's really slow, but now it's in. And yeah, this is an off angle. I don't know if we're fine.
It looks a bit scary.
Yeah.
Normally supposed to be center of the carpet right here. But he waited long enough, but still, no, he was too far down the center and thereby missed the platform completely. So another try at this very slow star, and that's the reason why, and Nico called it out already, this star has went in and out and in and out of the route basically half a dozen times at bare minimum, only in the last 6 months, just because of that. It is a kind of quick star compared to the alternatives we have, but it's still, if anything goes wrong, such a big time loss compared to the other, on average, slower stars, that he really has to argue with himself all the time. Do I want that in? Do I want them out? On Friday, he decided, I want this back in instead of BBH Reds. I think I can do it. And right there, he probably already has begun to negotiate with himself again if the star will be in or out next time he does that.
Yeah, and also... Oh.
Bro.
Yeah, the ending has seen many developments, and he went back and forth on multiple ideas. Because, like, still, it's pretty slow star, but the ending was like the slowest part. And yeah, but you also have to negotiate speed and consistency, the usual speedrunning problem. And yeah.
There has kind of developed an universal truth in the Blindfolded community since his sub 20 grind in last year, when once a user called out that if you have a consistent slow strat, an old strat, and you want to route a new strat, and you route a new strat, and it is fast but inconsistent, and you have to decide between the both, usually the best thing you can come up with is just route a complete third new strat that is also fast and consistent. And so far, this proof have worked out many times over the grind when he had just a complete new strat that was likely not working and the old very slow strat from his last grind in 2023. And then he just came up with another one, and yeah, oftentimes already this has performed as the best and is still the strat in the run to this day.
Yeah, also something in which is funny that sometimes happens in Blindfolded, which, like, I don't know why, we don't know why, but strats at times stop working out of nowhere. And it's something, I remember when my first time happened to me, I messaged Bubzia in chat and he told me, welcome to Blindfolded running. Because it happens quite often, not super often, but it does happen and it's annoying. And yeah, it's very weird, Blindfolded speedrunning.
Yeah, we just entered the last stage of this run, actually, other than the Bowser stage that is coming up. But this is the last completely stage on its own, TTC. TTC Bars is the first star, which is kind of climbing up the whole tower inside of the clock to get into a cage where a star is located. An old strat here usually long jumped right here over a gap from this clock right there, from this cock, and he just happened to realize that it's not worth to risk any invisible walls during 70 star, and therefore, especially in TTC, that was crazy. He glitched out of the cage right there. Had to be a frame perfect mistake, I guess, or a pixel perfect at least. But yeah, he literally routed out almost all of the invisible walls in TTC and some other stages, but mainly TTC. Since the video of last year, which most of you SM64 fans will all have seen, the great compilation, the wholehearted explanation of Pan and Coag on all the invisible walls in this game. And it led to really, quite a few strat developments in Blindfolded, where we now are able, with almost no time loss or even time save, to dodge some invisible walls right here and there, all over the run, to just get better consistency. And especially for TTC, this was really, really needed, since it is such a long run, such optimized, such mentally draining. Bubzia had literally no energy left for any RNG kind of stuff in this last stretch. So there we routed this whole stage upside down. Hence why, most of TTC these days, quite similar to when Dry World Revolution was dubbed TTC Renaissance by the community, since this strat right here is what's referred to as TTC Renaissance, since we use this climb on the right side for almost every star now. Like what we did before was for all the other stars beside bars, we went on the switches, the flips, on the where the reds are located, and we only have basically one invisible wall here right in the beginning that is left, and this is actually not a problem, since when Bubzia performs everything correct, he never hits it. So when he hits that invisible void right there in the beginning, he knows he had made a mistake, but it's no RNG in this wall, and thereby it's just so much better than all the strats we had before at the stage.
Yeah, also we've seen something used in TTC bars and also some other stuff like RR reds, Rainbow Ride Reds. I mean, basically he ran into a corner. You've seen it. Like I don't think you'll see any more in the run, but it's used sometimes. It's an unreferenced wall. Basically, when Mario contacts two walls at the same time, he can only interact with one of those, and it's dependent on some axes and how the wall is placed. So it is consistent on which wall he will interact with. And that allows to run into a corner to build speed, and it's pretty good for movement and then like wall kick the wall and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah,
Getting close to the end
we're
now.
only 2 stars away from the dreaded 70. So actually, looking at the pace here, a very solid run, especially accounting that Mokka tried to sabotage it right prickly smacked in the middle. But yeah, overall, tiny mishaps right here and there, they are accounted for. It's why the estimate for this run was set to 140. In his warm-up run on Friday on his stream, he literally performed a 138-ish, if I remember correctly. So it was very close with the estimate there, since, yeah, the world record is a 116, but that's 70 star. It is just so highly optimized. It is so high pressure. No, like I said, no brakes, all gas. So you can lose much time here really quick. That's why the estimate and the world record here are at such a discrepancy, and it shows that
the scary backups, the scary backups in Bowser 1. Excuse me. This being the second time during the run we've seen Bubzia on 0 lives. You know, the amount of improvisation and like knowing, hey, I'm in a scary spot here. I don't want to have to restart. You know, being able to do this other strat instead is what I need to do.
I believe
the
even
game knowledge
if you look at it, the world record he got last, or the last 2 world records he got in 70 star, were the only ones, the first ones, where he even never game overed. Like not dying, but not game overing. Before, all the world records in 70 star had at least one complete game over.
Okay.
Let me do it.
Here, again, invalidating the official run with a BLJ in 70 star for the fans. And now
wait.
We.
I was about to say keep a year on the intro.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Keep an eye or an ear on the intro of Bowser, right?
I think I got lost.
Now, if we sometime will get to it, he will have to renormalize through the door, since he he completely, for the fans, got lost.
Well,
it is for the fans as well. It was planned to show off the backup, actually.
But yeah, again, here the beginning of the Bowser stage, and hear into your heart that you know this. You have heard this before. Did you hear it? It is the stress theme of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It is super similar. It's almost like there have to be some, maybe Nintendo lawyers or something look into it. Who of them came up with this first? Since I think technically it had to be Mario 64, since it was
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was either 1999 or 2000. So
yeah, exactly what I think. So they had to copy, if at all, but it's really, really similar.
Here, Bubzia didn't. I don't know if he entered the wrong door or not, but yeah, he entered the stage to be lined with the door and apply his strat he knows from that position to enter upstairs. And also, by the way, just quick fun fact: he ledge grabbed through through the wall. That's because when Mario ledge grabs something, like when Mario interacts with 2 things, he here ledge grab and also bonk on the wall. The game has some priorities and has to apply only one thing, and the ledge grab has a priority, which means he can ledge grab through the wall. Also here, a very cool strat for BLJs in order to ledge grab, keep meshing and automatically ledge grab the stairs. And into this now.
Also, we saw rare usage of the dreaded FLJs, the front long jumps. Not much seen in SM64 these days, but Bubzia pulling off all things for the fans that he has in his pocket here right at the end of the run, since he had to redo this anyway.
Also, here we are seeing a setup by a community member, Desertbyte. By punching that wall where next to the Piranha, he aligns laterally perfectly, and therefore he's the pause buffering inputs to not have to set up for left side here and just be laterally perfectly set up so that he can just lateral punch and be perfectly in line. And now elevator skip, a very, very fast thread, which he improved to a crazy point. It used to be much slower, still very quick, but much slower. It's a very precise triple jump wall kick dive, which now he has very consistent though. Okay, here shouldn't be a problem.
Missed an input right there. I don't know if it was the game or him. Most likely it was him, but had to redo this since he, at this point, only really knows how to directly dive into that.
Of course.
This pipe from this second stair, since all these slower old strats, he just has not memorized them anymore. Since it's basically his second thing that he has in life to do this strat here.
There it is.
He could probably jump, but
everyone who's been watching this whole time wondering if this is real. There's your sign that one thing that can throw you off that you haven't practiced for can really show.
Sorry. Good RNG. Bowser 3. Basically, you have to throw him on the 3 bombs, but throwing is not easy because it depends on what angle you use to throw him. So we lure Bowser at the bombs, and there's a 50-50 chance that he either charges, like now, or jumps. So it's RNG based and can lose a lot of time. And if he jumps too much, he will have to reset because Bowser gets too close. Now we've seen the last throw, which is very precise, but using the...
Has to hit a 3-frame window here, and he does.
Basically using the sound that Bowser makes when spinning, swoosh, 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 he uses that to time the throw. Now he should be fine. Grabbing the star. Perfect.
Yeah. GG. Clean.
GG.
I think that came out to right about 132 and 10 seconds. 132 and 9.
Nice. 32, that's a pretty decent time. Nice. Yeah. GG's, I guess. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it was a blast.
absolutely.
The run was mega scuffed.
By your estimation, yes.
I mean,
but to be honest, we got a great opportunity to talk about backups, your capacity for improvisation. We got a little bit of extra content from Maka coming and saying hi. I could not have asked for anything more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but as many people always say, like, failing stuff in marathons is actually like the interesting part to see. Like, as a speedrunner who grinds forward records, it's of course not very cool to make mistakes and stuff, but as a showcase, it's definitely cool to see like how you can back up things, how the route changes maybe even, or like what other strats there are. Because like if everything goes well, this is basically just like a scuffed through speedrun, you know? So it's actually really cool to see some mistakes. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for having me here. Huge shout outs to my commentators here. I'm very sure you did a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. Please, all three of us, all three of you, tell us where they can find you.
So yeah, I'm live on Twitch and YouTube most of the time. Every day actually during the week. You can find me under my name Bubzia everywhere on social media as well. And if you want to see more Blindfolded stuff, I'm grinding daily. We're currently on the project of Blindfolded 120 star again, which will take like probably until the end of the year or even longer to route. We are currently doing like stage by stage every single bit blindfolded and then like practice it. We also do funky little ROM hacks here and there. And also I recently learned Blindfolded Majora's Mask, which is pretty cool. Don't know how long I will run that because that run has lots of cutscenes, but yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Luzifer, and
sorry?
you most of the time will find me in Bubzia's chat during weekends when he streams. I really rarely stream on Twitch, if at all. Lastly, on beginning of this year, where I actually did get a world record in Blindfolded in Super Mario Party for the minigame Shy Guy Says. But normally, yeah, like in chat at Bubzia during his stream time, welcoming you all and yeah, explaining stuff. If you have any questions, please feel welcome in his stream and yeah, ask them right away. We will gladly answer them.
Yeah, I'm Nico 2718, weird numbers. And you can find me on Twitch under Nico2718_. I stream now. I'm grinding SM64 16-star blindfolded for a decent PB. I'm grinding also 0 and 1 star, 0-star blindfolded. I haven't done it yet, but I plan to. And also grinding other games, Super Mario Galaxy blindfolded, Ocarina of Time blindfolded. I'm jumping on and off between projects. And yeah, and also often in Bubzia's chat, if you see a huge info dump answering a question, it's probably mine. And yeah, also quick thing, I want to mention that Bubzia has we already mentioned it, but Bubzia has a 16-star tutorial, blindfolded, which is really good. Many people learned from that. And so if you want to get into blindfolded Super Mario 64, you can do it. It requires time, but it's not as hard as it looks. It's very hard to get at Bubzia's level, but to get started, it's not as bad. So yeah, feel free to test it out.
Very cool. Well, Luzifer, Nico, Bubzia, and especially the guest commentary from Maka the cat, thank you to all of you. This was a fantastic time. I am very grateful that you decided and were able to join us today, and that the internet 99.5% cooperated.
Oh, that was
yeah. There was a tiny little bit there right before you did the BLJ into Bowser 3, but yep. Again, thank you so much for this fantastic run. Chat had a blast, and so did I. Coming up next, we're actually going to have a runner with a challenge category.